I've been saying LeBron, to me, they made him into this guy who wanted to score first. If you look at LeBron when he first got to the league, LeBron would facilitate. LeBron knows he's good enough to get his points anytime throughout the course of the game. When you run like that, when you get out on the fast break, you're going to get your points. It's not going to be a problem. The problem is going to be are you going to share the wealth? When you're as good as LeBron, the problem is sharing the wealth. That's why Gilbert Arenas is so stupid. He don't know what he's talking about. You can't get a coach by a guy like Phil Jackson without learning something. And you would have never been able to get coached by Phil Jackson because he'd have slung your little immature ass out of the locker room. Phil Jackson don't play that. All that using Ernie Grunfeld and doing those little kid games, and you lucky you got coached by a kid coach. You were with a rookie coach, then you was with another coach that just let you do what you want to do. But Phil Jackson didn't let nobody do what they wanted to do unless you make a deal. Yeah, you can go to Vegas and party for 3 or 4 days if that's your stick, if that's what you need. But when you come back here, this is what I'm going to need. See, Phil is not like these other coaches that got sensitive. He didn't get in your way. See, the one thing that I realized what Phil Jackson said that was the simplest thing, and it's always the simple things in life that make the most sense. But most people that try to be so smart, they don't catch it. I asked Phil Jackson, I said, Coach, what make you so different than these other coaches? Because he didn't say much. So I'm like, why the fuck is he so, why everybody look at him like he the Zen master? He don't really talk. And so I asked him, I said, what makes you such a good coach? Like, what is it to this thing with coaching? He said, you got to have a bad memory. And he walked off. Like, what the fuck? Old ass bad hip dude walking off after he told me you gotta have a bad memory to be a coach. I'm like, what does that even mean? That don't even make no fucking sense. When you're young and you don't think about it, nothing somebody with wisdom say makes sense. That's why I'm not mad when Gilbert and a lot of people don't understand what I'm saying. You're not gonna understand it because it is what it is. But as I got older and I thought about it, it happened during the season. It's a long, grinding, grueling season. Some of these people you don't even want to be around no more, but you got to be around them. So you got to learn how to have a healthy relationship with them. So what he meant by having a bad memory, a lot of these coaches get in the league and they think, oh, I'm gonna coach all these players. But if you don't get great players, then let's just say you get into it with a player, you got to let that shit go. You cannot be weak. You cannot think about your personal feelings. This is a job. Personally, I know Phil Jackson didn't like a lot of people. Didn't like some people. He probably wanted to cut them. But professionally, he understood that, hey, I got to have a bad memory because we got a job to do. And that's what a great coach does. But I'll say this. Phil Jackson said to me, you have to have a bad memory. And it didn't make sense before, but it make a hell of a lot of sense now, because if you're going to come and be such a stickler for the rules, now he didn't play you coming in late and all that shit. He ain't going to argue with you. You fine. You not playing. That's it. No arguments needed. He the boss. You fine. He'll write a book about your ass. Like, he got enough respect as a coach that he never really went back and forth. He said what he said, and that was that. So you knew right then, it don't matter if your name was Kobe, it don't matter what your name was, because he kept himself here. He didn't do all the back and forth, you're a superstar, so I'm gonna get you up here with me and then everybody else down here. No. That's not the case. Yes, you're the great player, you got a little more leeway, but at the end of the day, rules are rules. Phil Jackson never bent the rules for people who thought that the rules should be bent for them. So that's what helped Kobe Bryant greatness. That's what helped Shaquille O'Neal's greatness. A lot of these people, if you get them around certain people that don't have that personality to lead, then they'll destroy the team. And Gilbert and a lot of these people are characteristics and personality that will destroy a team. Phil Jackson wouldn't leave you in any gray area. Know your role. This is your role. Star in your role. And that's it, that's all. If you can't star in your role, we'll get somebody else. But he'll sit right there on the bench and give you an opportunity. He'll sit right there just like this. If you can play, you can play. He'll sit there. I ain't gonna bail you out. Hey! Sit right there. And if you couldn't fix it, then he'd fix it. Take your ass out. But other than that, he'd give you a chance to play. He didn't hoop, he didn't holler, he didn't do none of that. The game is the game. You don't got to do all that. All these young coaches that hoot and holler, jump up, rant and rave, they're going to fizzle out. Phil sat there calm, cool, collected, and he didn't negotiate with terrorists. Some of these players you just saw, Joel Embiid, did not go to practice. Phil Jackson would never have that. It don't matter if you score 40 points a game. That's your job. I don't got to hold your hand or pat you on the back because you scored 40 points. Motherfucker, that's your job. So the Gilbert Arenases of the world, the scorers of the world, you couldn't handle a coach like Phil because he's not going to praise you for doing your job. You're getting paid $20, $30 million to be a professional. So just because you score points, that does not mean you're going to be able to do whatever you want to do. It doesn't work that way. And Phil had enough gumption, he had enough backing, he had enough reputation and respect that once he said you was uncoachable, then it stuck. So you had to respect Phil in a different way than you would respect other coaches. And your baby boy, LeBron, never got coached by a coach like Phil because all that nepotism and all that shit, that would have been cut. None of that's going to work. None of it. But to be a good coach, he said, you have to have a bad memory. You can't come in with the same baggage of yesterday. You got to deal with these people 82 games. You trying to win a championship. There's a lot of things that's going to happen throughout the course of the season that a coach needs to be able to manage. There may be a fight. There may be a couple fights. That happens all the time. There's a lot of things that go on that a coach needs to be able to manage and have a relationship with players. And Phil didn't do the behind-the-scenes in-house snitches. He just let people be people, and he would walk around and observe you. And when he observed something he didn't like, he'll call you out on it right away. And he'll do it in front of the whole team, if need be. If you're disrespecting the team, if you're taking away from the team, then he'll correct you in front of the team. And that's why people respect Phil. There would be no Gilbert Arenas showing up late at practice. There would be no Joel Embiid showing up late at practice. It would be Phil Jackson in the media saying this guy don't carry the threat the right way. Or he would empower one of his players to get you straight. And you would normally get straight because the Lakers wasn't that type of team. You couldn't do that. When you had a leader like Kobe, was the guy that's always on time, done a workout already at 6 a.m., you don't really have to deal with all the rest of the fluff.